the vampire, a creature of darkness, a predator of the night. Since the dawn of storytelling, tales of these immortal beings have chilled and captivated us. Long before Bram Stoker put pen to paper, ancient cultures whispered of demons and spirits that preyed on the living. These legends, passed down through generations, form the bedrock of the vampire myth we know today. In Eastern Europe, folklore spoke of the strigoi, vengeful spirits that rose from the grave to torment the living. These creatures, often blamed for plagues and misfortunes, instilled a primal fear of the unknown. In other parts of the world, similar tales arose, each adding its own unique flavor to the growing tapestry of vampire lore. From the blood-drinking demons of Mesopotamia to the restless spirits of ancient Greece, these early myths reflected a universal human fear, the fear of death and the unsettling possibility of life beyond the grave. These stories served as cautionary tales, reminding people of the dangers that lurked in the shadows and the importance of respecting the dead. But it was in the 18th century, during a period of intense fascination with the occult and the supernatural, that vampire lore truly began to take shape. Reports of vampire sightings and attacks spread throughout Europe, fueled by superstition and mass hysteria. These accounts, often embellished with each telling, painted a terrifying picture of creatures that preyed on the living, draining their victims of blood and life force. It was against this backdrop of fear and fascination that the vampire myth would evolve into its modern form. The year was 1922. The shadow of World War I still hung heavy over Europe. It was in this atmosphere of unease and uncertainty that a silent film shot in stark black and white would etch itself into the annals of horror history, F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu. Inspired by Bram Stoker's Dracula, Nosferatu introduced the world to Count Orlok, a grotesque and unsettling figure who bore little resemblance to the suave and sophisticated vampires of later years. With his pointed ears, elongated fingers and rat-like teeth, Orlok was a creature of pure nightmare. Though a loose adaptation of Stoker's novel, Nosferatu captured the essence of the vampire myth, the fear of the unknown, the allure of the forbidden, and the seductive power of darkness. The film's eerie atmosphere, haunting imagery, and Orlok's chilling performance created a new kind of monster, one that transcended the limitations of language and culture. Nosferatu was a critical and commercial success, solidifying the vampire's place in the pantheon of horror icons. But more importantly, it paved the way for countless interpretations of the vampire myth in film, literature, and popular culture. From fiends to fatal lovers, the evolution of the vampire myth has been nothing short of fascinating. Over the centuries, the vampire has transformed from a monstrous figure of dread to a complex character embodying both terror and allure. This metamorphosis reflects changing societal fears and desires, as well as the vampire's ability to adapt and remain relevant in popular culture. In the 19th century, literature began to portray vampires as tragic and romantic figures. Works like John Polidori's The Vampire and Sheridan Le Fanu's Carmilla introduced the idea of the vampire as a seductive and tormented soul. This trend reached its zenith with Bram Stoker's Dracula, where Count Dracula became a symbol of forbidden desires and the dark side of human nature. As we moved into the 20th century, the vampire continued to evolve. Films like Interview with the Vampire and The Lost Boys presented vampires as anti-heroes, struggling with their immortality and moral dilemmas. The 21st century brought us the Twilight Saga, where vampires became symbols of eternal love and youthful beauty. Throughout these transformations, the core elements of the vampire myth have remained: the fear of death, the allure of immortality, and the tension between the monstrous and the human. This enduring flexibility has allowed the vampire to remain a powerful and captivating figure in our collective imagination. A reflection of ourselves, the enduring allure of vampires lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears and desires. Vampires embody the eternal struggle between life and death, the known and the unknown, the human and the monstrous. They challenge us to confront our mortality, our morality, and our innermost fantasies. In literature, film, and popular culture, vampires continue to captivate audiences with their complex and multifaceted nature. They are both villains and heroes, predators and lovers, monsters and mirror images of ourselves. This duality allows them to resonate with us on a profound level, offering both a thrilling escape and a means of exploring our own humanity. As we look to the future, it is clear that the vampire myth will continue to evolve and adapt, reflecting the changing fears and desires of each new generation. Whether as creatures of horror, symbols of forbidden love, or embodiments of our darkest impulses, vampires will always hold a special place in our hearts and minds. The allure of the vampire is timeless, and their story is far from over.